I've always been fascinated by what-if scenarios, and today we're diving into a chilling one. What if NATO launched a massive nuclear attack on Russia? Now, before we go any further, let me be clear. This is purely hypothetical, but it's a scenario that's been on the minds of strategists and doomsday preppers for decades, so let's break it down. Imagine for a moment that every major Russian city is suddenly obliterated in a coordinated strike. The immediate devastation would be, well, devastating. Picture this, it's an ordinary day in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and other major Russian cities. Then, in an instant, everything changes. Bright flashes light up the sky. Massive explosions rock the earth, mushroom clouds rise ominously on the horizon. The immediate aftermath? Total chaos. We're talking about unimaginable destruction on a scale never seen before. Cities reduced to rubble, millions of lives lost in the blink of an eye. But here's where it gets interesting. See, Russia's military planners have been preparing for this nightmare scenario for decades. Now you might be wondering, how could Russia possibly fight back after such a devastating attack? Well, that's where the nuclear triad comes in. It's like a three-pronged insurance policy against total annihilation. First, you've got land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs. These bad boys are scattered across Russia's vast territory, some in underground silos, others on mobile launchers. Then there's the sea-based leg of the Triad, submarine-launched ballistic missiles. Russian nuclear subs are probably lurking in the depths of the ocean right now, ready to unleash hell if the order comes. And finally, there are the strategic bombers. These planes can be scrambled at a moment's notice, carrying nuclear payloads to targets around the globe. There are backup systems, secondary command centers, and even a so-called dead hand system that could theoretically launch a counterattack automatically. Let's pause for a second and zoom out. Because what we're talking about here isn't just a conflict between NATO and Russia, it's the end of the world as we know it. As Russia's retaliatory strikes hit NATO countries, we're looking at a full-scale nuclear exchange. The amount of dust and soot thrown into the atmosphere by all these nuclear explosions, it would block out the sun, plunging the Earth into what scientists call a nuclear winter. Global temperatures would plummet, crops would fail worldwide, famine would become the new normal. The lucky survivors? They'd be facing a world of scarcity, disease, and conflict. Economic systems would collapse, governments would crumble. It would be like hitting the reset button on human civilization, but in the worst way possible. So, where does this leave us? Well, if you're feeling a bit shell-shocked, you're not alone. The scenario we've just walked through is the stuff of nightmares. But you know what? It's also the reason why, despite all the tensions and conflicts in the world, we haven't seen a nuclear war. It's a concept called mutual assured destruction, or MAD. The idea is simple. If using nuclear weapons means the end of everything, then no one wins. It's like a high-stakes game of chicken, where backing down is the only way to survive. But relying on MAD is a dangerous game. All it takes is one miscalculation, one moment of madness, and we could find ourselves on the brink of the unthinkable. That's why diplomacy, arms control agreements, and efforts to reduce nuclear stockpiles are so crucial. Because in the game of nuclear war, the only winning move is not to play. As we've seen, the consequences of failure are too catastrophic to contemplate. So next time you hear about international tensions or nuclear saber-rattling, remember this scenario. Remember what's at stake, and hope that the people in charge remember it too, because our future depends on it. As we wrap up this journey through one of the darkest timelines imaginable, I want to leave you with a thought. We've explored the devastating consequences of a nuclear war, not to scare you, but to emphasize just how crucial it is that we never let this scenario become reality. The power to unleash this kind of destruction exists in our world, but so does the power to prevent it. Every diplomatic effort, every arms reduction treaty, every step towards understanding between nations, these are the real heroes in our story. They're what stand between us and the abyss we've glimpsed today. So the next time you hear about international tensions or nuclear capabilities, remember what we've discussed. Remember the stakes. And maybe, just maybe, we can all play a part in ensuring that this what-if scenario remains firmly in the realm of imagination. Because in the end, the future of our world depends on our ability to choose peace over destruction, understanding over fear. Thanks for joining me on this sobering journey. Stay curious, stay informed, and above all, stay hopeful.